boys and girls. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. This week you've been working on story problems, and the kind of story problems where you have to do two different equations or two steps to find the answer. So I'm going to do the application problem for you today for lesson 4. But I did want to remind you, when you're working on that problem, if you look back at the page before it, page 13 in your workbook, you'll see that this is the way some kids show their work, or like this. So what we see is a drawing, equations, math work, and an answer. And the drawings have labels. Same with this one. And this one, the drawing is a little, I guess we would say it's more exact or concrete or simple, because they literally drew every little item out. This isn't the fastest way, but if you can't figure it out, this is a great way to do the math too. So when I looked at your I Know It, it seemed like some of you had a hard time finding the two steps in the problem. So I wanted to do this application problem with you. So it says, first we're going to read it carefully. The third graders raised $437 in a fundraiser. The fourth graders raised $68 less than the third graders. How much money did the two grade levels raise all together? So let's take it sentence by sentence and think it through. It says the third graders raised $437 in a fundraiser. The fourth graders raised $68 less. So we have the fourth grade class, $68 less. Does that mean they raised $68? No, they raised $68 less. So this word less is super important. Less than the third graders. Before I try to answer this question, I need to think about what I know here. And I'm going to draw. So I'm going to make just a really quick diagram. So the third graders raised $437. And the fourth graders raised, I'll call them fourth. The fourth graders raised, well, we don't know how much. I don't exactly know where to stop this line. But I do know it's less than the third graders because it said so. In fact, I know that it's $68 less. So I could draw this to show that, you know, when they counted up all the third grade money, they got to 437 here. And when they counted up to the fourth grade, they had $68 less. But we don't know how much the fourth graders actually raised, and that's what we're finding out in our diagram. How much money did the fourth graders raise? Well, if we know how much the third graders raised, and we know it was $68 less, the fourth was 68 less, we subtract to find the difference. So some of you might be used to this drawing instead, a whole part diagram. Here's the whole, here's a part which we don't know, and here's a part which we do know. So when you know the whole and one of the parts, you were taught to subtract, and that'll tell us the other part. So we could do the equation 437 minus 68. So this is the first equation that we need to do. We're talking about dollars, but I don't do subtraction like this. We don't usually do that with mental math, so we would write it as a traditional algorithm. And boy, if I were your teacher, I sure would be giving you lots of subtraction problems to make sure you remembered how to regroup and borrow, and because we can see that 7 minus 8, not enough ones here, so we need to borrow. So we're going to take a 10 and leave 2 here and bring the 10 to the 1, so this becomes 17. 17 minus 8 is 9, and you can double check. Is 9 plus 8 17? Yep. Now 2 minus 6, 2 tens minus 6 tens. Well, we can't do that either, so we're going to borrow. We'll leave 3 here and bring the 10. So now we have 12 minus 6 is 6. So 369. Yay, are we done? No, we just figured out what was missing. So we figured out the fourth graders raised $369. So now we have a clear picture. Third grade raised this much because they told us. Fourth grade raised this much because we figured it out. And then it says how much money did the grade levels raise altogether? Well, altogether is adding. So our next equation, here was the first one. Here's the next one. 437 plus 369. If you like doing mental math, you could add those up, but I will just do the traditional algorithm. So 7 and 9 is 16. 6 and 4 is 10. 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have found that they raised $806 altogether. And that, so I read it, I drew it out, I'm about to write some more stuff down. They raised $806 altogether. I hope this helps with your application problem. Remember, boys and girls, we found that we needed 2 equations to solve this. And careful reading is the only way that we would find what they were really asking. So when you're doing story problems, go nice and slow, draw it out, and think about what you know and what you need to find. And then the biggest thing of all, don't jump right to the question. Think through each sentence before you jump right to the question. So I hope that helps with your story problems. Have a great day.